welcome to In My Mug, episode 311, on Monday, the 27th of October 2014. I am your host, Stephen Layton. Welcome to In My Mug, and welcome to this week's news. So let's get into this week's news. I am here, but I am not here. Well, I am here, well of course I'm here, but I'm not here now. Well, I am here now, but I'm not here when you're watching this. I am in Asia for the next 13 days, taking the Tamper Tantrum Coffee Industry Show on tour. If you want to keep abreast of all of the stupid things that are going on in my life at the moment, please follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, I think what else do we, Audio Boo. Yeah, I'm going to put some links on the screen for some of these things. You will get to see all of my shenanigans while I'm on this very strange tour. I don't know kind of quite how a boy from Cannock ends up going to Asia to talk to people, but it's happening and I'm doing it, so get over it. And I've mentioned this a few times now, but I am going to mention it again. In My Mug is now bi-weekly and monthly. The old monthly subscriptions will mirror the first In My Mug of the month, so next week's In My Mug will be the monthly coffee as well for November, and you'll be able to watch the videos, kind of keep tied in. You can also pay in a variety of ways: weekly recurring direct debit, weekly recurring PayPal, one-off 4-week payment, one-off 12-week payment, one-off 52-week payment. I think we pretty much have it covered in all of the options at the moment. I know a few of you have fed back to me how you are excited about the bi-weekly, and that has grown very quickly. So thank you to everybody who's done that. And that was the shorter news. As do you know what? I don't have a lot to talk about this week because I've been very much focused on trip. But talking about focus, we should go to this week's Focus On, and it's going to be on the Apaneka Ilmatek mountain range. So the Cordillera de Apaneka, which is the corridor of the Apaneka mountain range, is a volcanic mountain range in western El Salvador. The Apaneka range is a group of east to west trending stratovolcanoes and geothermal areas located between the western El Salvador and between Santa Ana volcano, which is the very end of that range, and it's a complex set of volcanoes. It goes virtually to the Guatemalan border, and around about 6 kilometres southeast of Arshapan. On the 13th of October 1990, a steam explosion occurred in the village of El Barro on the Aguashua thermal location in the northwest of the range. The eruption produced a violent geyser, a fountain, lasting for 10-20 minutes of steam mud, and ended up killing 26 people. These are very, very active volcanoes still, and several others were injured. And it left a 15-metre deep crater and 30 metres in diameter, which is pretty harsh. Just gives you a little insight into how much this is still a very active volcanic area. And this was Focus On. So we should talk about this week's coffee, because that's what we're really here for, not to talk about volcanoes. And this is from an area very near to that volcanic explosion. The Nejapa farm is owned by Gloria Rodriguez. You may have heard that name before, San Jose. This is the first time we've been able to secure this lot from her, and I am so excited to be able to bring this to you. The farm was inherited by Gloria's father, Jose Marie Rodriguez, in the 50s. And the property at that time was devoted exclusively to cattle and milking purposes. It was Jose Marie who started growing coffee on the site, and he chose to plant bourbon. And little by little, he noticed that the area was actually doing really well with coffee. The farm is 18.2 hectares, but only 6.3 of those hectares are dedicated towards coffee. The rest is native woodland, and it's divided into 3 plots: Los Vientos, which is 2.1 hectares, Santa Maria, which is 1.4 hectares, and Roma, this lot, which is the biggest part, which is 2.8 hectares. And as I said, the other part is planted, is left to kind of be natural biodiversity, and is forested in cedar trees, which are all approximately 10 years old. So this is something Gloria's been actively doing. She really wants to do this because it helps maintain the soil conditions, but also the wildlife and the natural fauna and flora, which makes the farm so good. The farm is located on the slopes of Laguna das Lanifas, which is translated as Water Lilies Lagoon, and there is a beautiful lagoon at the very top of the farm, and you can actually walk down the whole of the farm. And as I said, there's a whole set of active volcanoes there. There is Itazaco volcano is the closest and most active. But you can see things like the sea from the farm. You can see things like the port where a lot of the containers, ships are coming in and things. Really interesting, beautiful farm. So, you know, you're 15,000 metres up, but you can see sea level. Yeah, it's just not something I've used to seeing on a farm. This tablon is called Roma, and Tablon Roma is located in the western side of Nejapa. This has been left unplanted up until 10 years ago. So when Gloria decided to make the changes to the farm and do the cedar trees and all of these things, this was 10 years ago, and this was because she obtained a loan through the local bank to replant the area. The variety that was chosen for this plot was Caturra, because 10 years ago, this was the vogue plant to plant. It's a dwarf varietal, it has high yields, and she needed those high yields to be able to repay the loan. Luckily for us, it just worked out that this was a fantastic combination with the terroir, and has worked out really well. It's called Roma because it's combining the first two letters of Gloria's children, which is Roberto and Maria. And Maria is a very good friend, and I knew Maria long before I knew Gloria. And it was awarded a Cup of Excellence Award in 2008 and 2009. So this specific lot has a bit of a pedigree of being a good coffee. Gloria is one of those producers that is special in El Salvador. She has so much passion for coffee. She has so much drive for quality. She is an amazing believer in the Cup of Excellence program and has been a huge supporter of it from the very start. A lot of that is because of Maria, who I said that I knew before I knew Gloria. Maria was part of the Concejal, which is the organising committee for El Salvador coffee producers, and that's where she met her husband Luis, who is also an amazing friend of mine, and they've become so close to me, and they've helped me a lot in finding great coffee in El Salvador. The varietal is a red Caturra, and it's a fully washed one. And the interesting thing about this one is we also have the yellow Caturra from the same farm, which is a honey process, which will not be in my mug. So if you want to try that one, you should definitely go and buy it. I've put the most expensive one in my mug. The other one is much better priced. So we should talk about the figures. The farm name is Nejapa. The tablon is Roma. The farmer is Gloria Rodriguez. The nearest city is Ataco. It's in the Oxapan region of El Salvador. Has a complete farm size of 18.2 hectares, but only 6.3 hectares are planted with coffee, and this tablon is actually only 2.8 hectares. Altitude is 14,700 metres above sea level, up to 15,700 metres above sea level. Variety is Caturra, and this is a fully washed. So we should go to this week's map bit, and I've got a feeling that this might be a good map bit. Here we are, back to our old familiar place, and we're going up, up and away, and we're going up into the skies and the world. I'll be flying over those skies. Ooh, I don't like flying. But we're going up, and we're going our familiar route across to Central America. Obviously somewhere we spend lots of time. And somewhere we do spend an extraordinary amount of time is in El Salvador, because they have so many delicious, tasty coffees. So let's look at our fact here. And did you know that El Salvador has the largest shopping mall in Central America? And I've been in it. I've I've bought stuff from it. It's very pretty. San Salvador is a real growing city and a lot of prosperity and a lot of US investment as well, because they have the US dollar as their currency. But here we can see the spine, but we're going down and we're going to look at Nejapa, which is near Apaneca, and we can see this is literally the farm. These are the farm buildings, the nurseries, just to the right there. You can get a really good idea of at the top of that mountain there is the lagoon that I talked about a little earlier, and we do have a coffee from the farm at the top, which is part of the lagoon. But here, if you look, you can see the sea. There's the sea in the distance, look, and Apaneca is just to the right there. The lowest point is that sea, and the highest point is 2,700 metres above sea level. Look at that amazing topography. That makes the hairs on my arms stand up, looking at El Salvador's mountain ranges there. And you can see why we buy from that spine of mountains. It really is a beautiful part. But there's the sea. You don't get to go to many farms and see the sea, but I did. And that was the map bit. See, you don't believe me when I tell you it's going to be a good map bit, but it was. I'm very, very pleased with that one. But now it is time for Roland's Daft Fact, of which I cannot be assured of any quality whatsoever. El Salvador, with the other countries in Central America, declared its independence from Spain on September the 15th, 1821, and was part of the Federation of Central America States until that union dissolved in 1830. I'm all about the history. He's all about the history. He's a very clever man. We like Roland. Okay, so it's time to whap you on pause. I'm going to go and make tasty and delicious drinks, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, so let's get into this. I have the Nejapa, and a little stir, spill some on my fingers, because that's the kind of guy I am. Waste not, want not. Oh. Okay. I love this coffee as espresso. Dark chocolate, cherries, full of cherries, but like cherry liqueur. It's just amazing. It's hard to believe it's washed because it has a booziness to it, but it is absolutely delicious. Okay, into the milk. No. In milk, that dark chocolate powers through. You lose some of that cherry. It really becomes a very, very simple beverage with the milk added. But it's not an unpleasant cappuccino. In fact, look world, second sip. I'm not going to have more than that because it's just a waste of calories drinking milk. But see, attention to detail. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? I'm amazing. I'm going to dive into the brood. I'm either going to dive into the brood here and drink this, or you're going to see a little video of, no, actually, no, because that's the following week's one. So yeah, shut up, Steve. Don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm going to dive into this one. Watch next week, you'll understand what I'm talking about then. Boom, that cherry is back. The dark chocolate's taken a little bit of a back seat. It's become much more about acidity, cherry acidity, that kind of. And I've used this descriptor before, I know I have, but I'm going to use it again. It's that Mon Chéri kind of chocolate liqueur that you have. It reminds me so much of that. The dark chocolate, the beautiful acidity of the cherry, the hint of booziness. It's just an amazing coffee. I love it. I'm really pleased that we've got this. Nejapa is a farm that I've been talking to Gloria, Luis and Maria about for a long time, and I'm really pleased that we've been able to get it this year. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you very much for joining me. Do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.